The U.S. military has conducted airstrikes against Islamic State operatives in Somalia, the first attacks in the African nation during President Donald Trump's second term. According to Associated Press, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Saturday that the strikes by U.S. Africa Command were directed by Trump and coordinated with Somalia's government. An initial assessment by the Pentagon indicated that multiple operatives were killed. The Pentagon said it assessed that no civilians were harmed in the strikes. Trump, in a post on social media, said a senior IS planner and recruits were targeted in the operation. The strikes destroyed the caves they live in, and killed many terrorists without, in any way, harming civilians. Our military has targeted this ISIS attack planner for years, but Biden and his cronies wouldn't act quickly enough to get the job done. I did, Trump said. The message to ISIS and all others who would attack Americans is that, we will find you, and we will kill you. Trump did not identify the IS planner or say whether that person was killed in the strike. President Donald Trump wasted little time this week trying to assign blame for the nation's deadliest air disaster in more than 2 decades. Among his chief targets, an FAA diversity hiring initiative he suggested had undermined the agency's effectiveness. According to Associated Press, in remarks in the Oval Office, Trump said he was not concerned that his comments about the deadly air crash could affect the investigation. "It'll probably come out the way I said it," he said. This was all caused by bad rules, regulations and other things by the Biden administration. No evidence has emerged that rules seeking to diversify the FAA played any role in the collision Wednesday between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter that killed 67 people. Responding to reports that some U.S. government systems would be taken down to remove diversity, equity, and inclusion language from their sites, the president said it didn't sound like a bad idea to him. "I think DEI is dead. I think DEI is dead. So they want to scrub the website. That's okay with me." Trump also said on Friday his administration has already had very serious discussions with Russia about its war in Ukraine and that he and Russian President Vladimir Putin could soon take significant action toward ending the grinding conflict. "We will be speaking, and I think we'll perhaps do something that'll be significant," Trump said in exchange with reporters in the Oval Office. Trump did not say who from his administration has been in contact with the Russians but insisted the two sides were already talking. Asked if he has already spoken directly with Putin, Trump was coy, "I don't want to say that." Trump has said repeatedly he wouldn't have allowed the conflict to start if he had been in office, even though he was president, as fighting grew in eastern Ukraine between Kiev's forces and separatists backed by Moscow, ahead of Putin sending in tens of thousands of troops in 2022.
Mr. President, on the crash, do you have any concerns that your commentary about things you have described as common sense or your observations could in any way interfere with the thorough investigation of the crash?
No, I think they'll do an investigation. It'll probably come out the way I said it. I like to put it up front. I'm so tired of listening to things happen to our country and then people say we'll do an investigation and 3 years later they come out with a report that nobody looks at. Especially, not in all cases can you do that, but in this case, you had a helicopter that was, the Black Hawk was too high. It was above the 200 limit by double. Shouldn't have been there. And there were some other mistakes made too, and I pointed them out also, and I was right on all of it, but they'll still do an investigation just to check it out, but I think that's what you're doing.
As Commander-in-Chief, are you at all concerned about opining about the Army and the conduct of that aircraft when you are commander-in-chief and these are the people who report to you,
No,
and there is an investigation ongoing?
This was all caused by bad rules, regulations, and other things by Biden, the Biden administration. And when you look at the way they ran things, in fact, if you look, we hired, one of the first things I told them to do, I said, get talented people in those beautiful towers overlooking runways. You better get them in there fast because we don't have people there that are qualified. And you knew that because planes were landing very, very late. They were circling all over the place.
People relying on that as safety, are you suggesting there's an ongoing risk?
No, I think there's very little risk, but I think that we have to make sure that this never happens again. Very, very little risk.
Yes, sir.
We have to have the best people, the smartest people, the sharpest people.
Government websites, will be shut down this evening to scrub them of DEI content. Can you confirm whether that's accurate and if there are any concerns?
I don't know.
about-
It doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. DEI would have ruined our country, and now it's dead. I think DEI is dead, so if they want to scrub the websites, that's okay with me.
On your wall with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we'll be speaking. Well, we'll be speaking. We'll be speaking, and I think we'll perhaps do something that'll be significant. We want to end that war. That war would have never started if I was president, and we want to end that war. That war is a horrible war. Millions of young people are being killed, mostly on the lines now, mostly soldiers. But the cities have been largely destroyed, many of them. They're like demolition sites. But the soldiers are just shooting at each other. You know, it's a very flat land. I said this the last time, very, very flat land. The only place that a bullet stops is when it hits a person. And they're hitting a lot of people. They're hitting a lot of soldiers, but on both sides. You know, I think Russia would probably say close to 800,000, and Ukraine 600,000 or 700,000. And it's just a senseless situation, and it's got to stop. So whatever I can do to stop it, and we are having discussions, yes.
Ongoing, already scheduled, and ongoing?
Already talking, yes.
So you've already spoken to Vladimir Putin?
I don't want to say that, but we are having very serious
Is there a
discussions
reason
about.
you don't want to?
Well, I just don't want to say that. We're having very serious discussions about that war, trying to get it ended
With Russia.
with Russia, yeah. Whatever I can do to stop it, and we are having discussions, yes.
Ongoing, already scheduled, and ongoing?
Already talking, yes.
So you've already spoken to Vladimir Putin?
I don't want to say that, but we are having very serious
Is
discussions
there a reason you
about.
don't want to?
We are, well, I just don't want to say that. We're having very serious discussions about that war, trying to get it ended
With Russia.